Hello and welcome back to Second Take Movies, a podcast where we give movies a second look, second chance, a second take, if you will. I'm your host, Preston Jenkinson, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jake Twito.
Oh, yeah.
This week, we just found out this before we recorded, but he hasn't seen the first two movies of this trilogy. It's Glass with Sam Jackson, James McAvoy, and Bruce Willis.
Yeah, and I'm terrible. Like, I know the story of Split.
Yeah.
Not as much as Unbreakable. I kind of know the whole gist of that. I didn't say this before, but I wrote a paper in college about Unbreakable.
Uh-huh.
And like it was me giving a summary of it, and the last lines was like, I didn't watch this movie. Hope you enjoyed my essay. I got like 98 on it. So I was full of crap. Yeah, I wrote a fancy Tri-County technical school paper.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, a lot of weed getting smoked around there. Not me, but whatever. I gave a huge critique. You know, the poor professor for that was a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Probably didn't want to really be there, but he was smarter than he should have been. And I just wowed him with like the metaphors of this are incredible. A train crashing, that much pain, and the thought of a train crash, but then bringing new life and new understanding to an identity. And then having to wrestle with how do you handle this new identity?
I mean, it's not wrong.
Didn't watch the movie. Didn't watch the movie, and the internet didn't really exist.
It's not wrong, honestly. The story for Glass, security guard David Dunn uses his supernatural abilities to track Kevin Wendell Crumb, a disturbed man who has 24 personalities.
All right, I got a question right away.
Ask me a question.
Split.
Did
you see all 24 personalities?
You never see all 24 of them. They're in there.
Okay.
There's a
couple main ones.
There's a main 3 or 4.
Patricia, Hedwig,
and Dennis in this movie, and Hedwig.
Yeah.
There's like a kind of like in this movie where he goes through like it's like a quick montage of like a quick thing of each of the personalities, but you never fully see all of them.
I'll save it till then because I had a question of like he goes through this like whenever he's in the insane asylum, he goes through this like switching personalities, and I'm like, there's no way all those were in the first film. Which
there's a
just
few.
mumbo jumbo. Some of them are, yeah.
David Sims from The Atlantic with our positive review. It's a film that sometimes plays more as a rambling TED Talk than as a straightforward thriller. But in this case, I admire Shyamalan's overreach, even as the auteur laid metatextual twist atop twist in the movie's giddily loopy ending.
It's a positive review that's not even positive.
Yeah, I said, it was hard to find a real positive review for this movie.
You know what? I get it. I think that's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, though.
Yeah.
The guy purposefully... I don't know what his problem is. Somebody had to, like, beat him or something. I don't know his story, but, like, dude, just be happy. Have some kind of good...
Right.
Like, the people that are watching your stuff, make them happy.
Well, I think he wants to be the next... what's his name? Hitchcock. He really admires Hitchcock, so...
It's not really good at it, though.
Nope. Mark LaSalle from the San Francisco Chronicle. Unoriginal, except in the ways that it's bad.
I agree. There was no part of this movie. And again, like, Unbreakable, I know the story pretty well. I haven't seen it. Split, I know the story. Whatever. This is, like, supposed to be Glass's story.
Yeah, and it's not really.
Well, and I don't know. It's kind of fun not watching the other ones. There's a lot of stuff I think I picked up on that don't make sense, but
yeah,
I feel like M. Night Shyamalan did purposefully.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to say I'm on the same level as him because I'm not that stupid.
Right.
Sorry.
I think he's a really good director.
Yeah.
I
think he is.
Storytelling.
I think he does some really good camera work.
Yeah.
Or has people that do it. Like there's some points in this where I'm like, ooh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Here's my take. You don't have to. Well, you can tell me, but
okay.
David Dunn. That came out Unbreakable in 2000.
In the year 2000.
Such a likable character. I remember people how much they loved it. I mean, it was like, I remember people like, this is what a real superhero is. This is a real superhero story. So we waited, 19, 20 years to see, what does he do? You kill that Joker in a puddle?
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Like, the whole ending of this movie it only really makes sense unless we get a new movie to show what happened at the end of this.
Well, this sucker starts off.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I tried to follow this, and so I'm going to miss some points. I know it. But
yeah,
it starts off with David doing his thing, and they're tracking down the horde.
Yeah, well,
right away, right? Or is there a build up to that?
One of his abilities is that he can touch people and see the things that they've done wrong. Basically,
is that in Unbreakable, or is he just super strong?
Yes.
Okay.
That's part of his powers in Unbreakable.
I knew he was super strong and unbreakable, but I didn't know that part was.
But he beats up those two guys at the beginning of the movie that are beating up people with a video camera.
Yeah, that's right.
Falls into their house and beats the crap out of them. So he's taking down like petty criminals and stuff. And then him and his son come across the story of these cheerleaders being kidnapped, which we see. That's like the opening scene is Kevin has kidnapped some more girls to sacrifice to the beast, which is the main personality within him that all the others worship.
Which, I'll go ahead and say it now. I didn't care for this movie that much, but James McAvoy is probably one of the greatest.
He's worth the price of admission.
I think he was top bill in this movie.
Had to be.
Deserved.
Yeah. And I don't know if, I guess he worked out for this movie. Because he's pretty, he's ripped in this movie. And this was also, Split and this were around the same time he was doing X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. So he's bald.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't think Professor Xavier needs to be ripped.
Put a blanket over his legs.
Professor Xavier doesn't necessarily need to be that ripped. He's sitting in a wheelchair. So
I want that to be the next Professor X, though. It's just this ripped guy.
Just this huge ripped guy. That's like...
Ooh, never mind. I can't say that. I had an X-Men comment, but I can't say it.
All right.
Sorry. Anyways.
That's for after the recording.
No spoilers. Yeah. No. It's no spoilers. It's some weird... I'm trying not to take you down a rabbit hole today for once. Gotcha. All right, David Dunn. Again, I took the guess, and I'm basing this from just his son and him, they were estranged in the first movie, but now they're partners pretty much, right?
Well, it's more that in the first movie, him and his wife are estranged, and that movie is really about the relationship between him and his son. David Dunn just keeps denying that he's super strong, and he just slowly realizes I can suddenly do all this stuff, and his son is really excited about it because he's 10. And
that's what I thought, because I was that motif of he's gonna accept he's a superhero or superhuman. And in this movie's why don't you eat dirt, bud?
I listened to somebody talk about this today. Is that one problem with this movie is that he has the same arc in this movie that he does in the first one.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask you. Isn't this just a repeat then? Because
and he's barely in this movie. Honestly, it's sad.
I don't know why, because he was honestly Bruce Willis or who are you saying, Joseph or David Dunn?
That's his. We'll go with Bruce Willis. His name is David Dunn, but.
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't know if you're talking about his son.
His son. I can't remember his son's name.
Joseph?
Yeah.
I took notes because I couldn't follow for a minute. Yeah, that's honestly the worst part of this is, especially now, which I watched a couple of Bruce Willis movies just for the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's why didn't you... He was the best acting... James McAvoy was the best, but that's totally different. He was the most interesting character, was Bruce Willis. I'm man, you really... I know this is Glass. So, but So he's walking randomly around neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Touching people.
Yeah. Don't do that.
He's shouldering some blokes.
Yeah.
And he bumps into was that Hedwig, that personality?
I think that was Hedwig, yes, that he bumps into. But it's Kevin is the...
It's kind of funny, man. I can see, like, all the people that really loved Split, they're following all this.
Mm.
That first fight, and if I'm skipping ahead too far, let me know. That first fight of the Beast and the Overseer, I was like, man, this is rad. Like,
yeah,
people have been waiting for this. This is great. And it's not bad. It's a good fight scene.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, this is going to be awful. It's going to be stupid. No. I mean, but it's just a beat 'em up. The downside of this movie is, like, after that first fight scene, you don't really need to see these guys fight again.
No. I mean,
there's no gotchas. It's two brawlers.
Yeah.
They're matched. Yeah. Done.
It's basically just Sam, I can't remember his name. Sam Jackson's character just...
Elijah Price
is
yep, Mr. Glass.
He's setting up the spectacle of outing superheroes at the end, basically.
But they get captured.
Kidnapped, yes.
Captured. How does Bruce Willis, David Dunn, how does he get captured? Because
they throw a bunch of water on him because he has, in the first movie, it's set up that he has a phobia of water, so he considers that his weakness.
I couldn't remember if they did something else, but okay. So they're taken straight to whatever, Raven Hill.
Yeah. Ravencroft, I want to say.
And you get, I don't remember that lady's name, but apparently
Dr.
Glass has been there all along.
Ellie Staple.
She's not terrible in this.
No, she's really, I think, what's the actress's name?
Paulson.
Sarah Paulson. She's really good as Ellie Staple. She explains too much, but she's very good. Just a very good role. It's a good character.
So let me scoot back on a previous comment. I didn't like this movie, but I liked all the actors and actresses.
And for me, there's a lot of parts that I like and a lot I don't.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's just, yeah. So this is where I get real murky.
Okay.
I know, like, they take the Beast into his room. They've captured him because they've got these lights that'll make them split.
Mm-hmm.
They've got David Dunn in his room with water cannons. We find out Glass is there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just like her interviewing them, or does she take them to the room to interview everybody at that point?
She takes them. She gets them all in there, and she gets David Dunn and Kevin in their cells. And then it just cuts between her having those individual conversations with, like, the way it's cut is like, seems like one conversation, but it's just like she's in the room with David and she's had the same conversation with Kevin. So it's just cutting back and forth, basically.
So one thing I'll say again, I looked it up and I can't pronounce it. Mike Giolakis.
Sure.
Whatever. I can't, whatever he is. He's the cinematographer on this.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious if he did Us. Yeah, he did. He did Us. And he did Old. And he did Split. So he did Split. That makes sense. It's got to be deliberate. It's kind of crazy when they're doing stuff with James McAvoy. I don't know his real name's character. Kevin. So when Kevin's talking to a guard that comes in, and this movie's kind of weird. Everyone's a hero. You expect the guy that's coming in to... the orderly that's coming in is like a rapist or something, or he's just gonna be, no, he's just a good guy that gets killed.
The one that's dealing with Sam Jackson is a prick.
Yeah, he's racist.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know that, but
sure, why not?
But while he's talking to him, and he's splitting between his personalities, the camera is going bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
It is going back and forth. It's always keeping James McAvoy in the frame.
Mm-hmm.
Always in frame. But when Sarah Paulson's character comes in and she interviews it, the camera stays dead still and he walks out of frame. And I'm like, oh, that's clever. I see what's going on. She's in control, and I was like, all right. There's my nerd film stuff.
And I like when they use security footage. It's not just stuff that they shot for the movie on a security monitor. It's like an actual security camera.
Yep. And I'm not going to lie. The only twist that got me in this was, I was like, why are they showing these security footage? This is stupid. And in the end, it makes sense. Like, oh, it's what is that? What is that movie saying? Someone's pistol, someone's gun. The phrase.
Smoking gun?
No, it's Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun, yeah.
Sorry, Chekhov's gun. This whole movie.
You show me a gun in the first act, you got to use it by the third act.
Yeah, this whole movie is Chekhov's gun. In the first act, they're talking about that tower, which that's a whole other point to talk about later.
Yeah.
The security camera footage, it's Chekhov's gun. It's going to get used later, actually. When you go, I think when they go to the memorial, that puddle, they zoom in on it.
Go to the memorial.
Go to Raven Hill, the psychiatric place.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you get a shot of that
the puddle.
Whole puddle early on in the movie.
Hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, this is a weird choice. Maybe this thing's about holes, but
yeah.
So, but I don't know. There's some good stuff.
She eventually gets them all in a room together. Kevin is in yellow, Bruce Willis is in green, and Sam Jackson's in purple. And she explains to them that her focus as a doctor is treating people that have extreme delusions of grandeur to where they think they're superheroes or supervillains. Elijah Price is like a really smart guy that in Unbreakable, he loved comic books because that was the only thing he had as a kid because he always broke his bones. He's very fragile. Like he's got this disease. Like if you accidentally hit him, you could break a bone. And that's all he had as a kid was comic books. So he's like really obsessed with comic books and knows all the different tropes and everything. And she's basically there to try to convince them that they're just regular people and that they're not superheroes or villains.
Yep. And I'm going to get nerdy again because this is where the one of the covers or the posters came from this scene. And they you said the color stuff, they make sure you understand one's purple, one's yellow, one's green.
Very saturated.
And I didn't come up with this. M. Night Shyamalan tweeted it because I was curious and I had to look it up. But he purposely chose that stuff because green's supposed to be a life-giving property. So David's the protector of life. The mustard color's related to religious ceremonies like Hindu and Buddhist. So the beast is an evangelist, which I don't quite understand that one. I see it more of just murder. Then purple for glasses as royalty and sees himself as important, which is kind of funny because a couple of podcasts ago when we watched Watchmen, Ozymandias is purpled.
Yep.
So
purple and gold.
Interesting. Yeah, but it's kind of, I don't know. It's funny. Like I didn't see the other ones. I knew enough about them. So when she's like talking them out of, no, all that stuff, it's believable. Like there's a reason why this happened. The shotgun, it was malfunctioning. All that. And I'm going, okay, maybe none of that actually happened. So for me, not knowing any of the other ones, I don't know. I was like, yeah, all right, this is weird.
Yeah, because James McAvoy takes a couple shots to the chest as the Beast in Split.
Okay.
And like pulls some bars apart and everything. But they come away, I guess they don't really. This is where the movie kind of gets foggy for me. It's like they go away from that meeting not really believing her, I guess.
I think they go away and
I know
not
Bruce
really believing.
Bruce Willis still thinks he's strong, I think. Or
yeah, no, he does. But after that meeting, that's when the connected parties come. So Price's mom, Casey, and then Joseph, David Dunn's son, show up.
and David Dunn's son is constantly trying to convince the lady that, oh no, he just happened to be there. You know, he heard some girls inside, and he just went in there to. He's crazy.
Yeah, not a really good, not a very, very good story from him.
He's a kid. Well, kid, he's like 30, but.
And I know, like, the Casey girl, I understand she's the one, like, the premise of Split, she's a child of abuse, which this movie really shows Kevin as being this, and, like, I'm like, oh, I understand that connection, because I'm like, why is this girl that got kidnapped before just Stockholm syndrome for this dude? Like, what is going on? Like,
because in Split, at the end, she eventually escapes.
You didn't know you were going to tell me all the other movies in this, did you?
I honestly thought you had seen them. I honestly did. I don't know why. I just assumed that. But
I thought I did until I started this and went, oh, no, I have not.
Okay. So the at the end of Split, she escapes the room, and he is following her as the Beast, because his whole thing is, like, the broken are pure. Like, the people that have suffered are pure, and he needs a sacrifice of unpure people that haven't suffered. That's who he kills.
Got it.
And at the end of that movie, she's cornered in, like, this cage thing, and you can see cuts on her arms and bruises and whatnot. He's like, you have suffered, you're pure, and then he just walks away.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say, either my brain's gotten better, M. Night Shyamalan isn't that smart, because watching this, maybe he's on purpose, maybe he's great, but all this stuff, I'm like, oh, I picked up on all that without watching the other ones. So
that's why I say that's a good job of the director and storytelling.
Good job, Shyamalama Ding Dong.
And then you don't see much of Bruce Willis after that.
No, he disappears,
man. He just disappears from this movie really quick. And it kind of picks up with Sam Jackson. His character starts waking up and somehow gets the is he about to, like, get a procedure to, like, mess with his mind or something?
No, not yet. You just find out after he meets the Beast. Then you figure out he's been sticking his pills in his armchair.
Right. Yeah.
And he's not crazy. So that's where he's like, all right, I want to. This could help my plan.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you get the. I think that's where the lady notices that Elijah has been leaving his room at night, and we're fed into the, like, every night he leaves, he goes to the computers, he sets stuff up, watches footage, and Staple is her name.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was supposed to be some, like, glass staple.
It kind of was. Kind of was. Yeah. Even like the names of these movies, Unbreakable, Split, Glass. Yes.
Yeah.
And the posters all match up to each other with a crack.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So she catches him then. But I think that's where he breaks out and talks to the Beast and says, like, here's my plan. I need you to help me get out of here. Talks him into, like, we're going to go blow this tower up. Not blow it up, but we're going to go to that tower.
You're going to go to that tower. It's going to force David to come out, and then I'm going to be proven right about superheroes, and I'm going to show him off to the world. So
that's where the operation, the prefrontal lobotomy. Prefrontal lobotomy, yeah.
That's her.
But with a laser. They're going to do it with maybe that is what it is now, but.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so that's when you find out he fakes that as well, because you have another back footage of him removing all the glass out of it, so the laser does nothing. And then he kills that Joker.
He does.
I was not ready for that.
Stabs that guy in the neck.
And just shoom. And then, in my head, I went, did he just get a new superpower from that laser?
Nah.
What just happened? No.
So he breaks the Beast out, or Kevin, I guess. I don't know. And
gets on the intercom.
Yeah.
First the Beast goes crazy, and I do think it's hilarious.
Well, he finally meets the Beast because he hasn't yet.
So he goes on a rampage in the halls, and it's that choice of we're going to film the reaction, not the action. So Glass has his weird-looking suit on, his Prince-looking suit.
It's his suit from the first movie,
and he's just wheeling himself away, and in the background you're just seeing decimation, and
it's a great shot of like just Samuel L. Jackson coming down the hallway, and the Beast is just messing dudes up.
But that's where he goes and gets on the intercom and tells David Dunn, like, I'm taking this guy to a chemical lab why would you have that in a tower in the middle of the city of Philadelphia? Yeah. So David Dunn gets the strength or courage to break out then.
He's like, do you really believe that you're the hero that you are, basically? And he's like, a man can't just punch through a metal door, But he eventually gets out.
You ever tried, man?
No.
Good.
He eventually gets his green poncho, which is, it's like, that's what he had as a security guard in the first movie, so it's like, whatever.
So you get the second fight scene. It was kind of boring.
So there's some good stuff. It's not like, and I don't think it's supposed to be like this big spectacle thing. It's supposed to be like how we would see it in real life. Like we would see the security footage.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be like this bombastic thing. It would just be like something that's happening.
But this is when I started realizing, like, oh yeah, this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie. He's about to just F things up.
Yeah.
This fight was supposed to happen on that tower we've been looking at this entire time and talking about. It's not happening there.
Which is a bait and switch. Like, he never intended to. Yeah, he never intended to go to that tower. We don't know that yet, but we just think they never made it out the parking lot.
Which is hilarious. But, man, it's pretty good. Like, so they fight. Sorry, I'll say the fight scenes weren't great until the police arrived.
Yeah.
Then it got really good. But what's even better is everyone's personal person shows up to watch it as well.
Yeah.
And Joseph drops the atom bomb to Kevin. All of your pain is because of Glass. He calls the train that killed your dad, that calls your mom to beat you and abuse you. So he just goes up to Glass, and it's, again, M. Night Shyamalan. I'm like, oh, this is going to be... They're not going to do this. No, he just kills him. He does it.
Yeah. And Glass is like, see this, look at what you became. If I hadn't have done that and your mother hadn't abused you, you see, it's a good thing your mother abused you, is his logic.
Yeah.
And
weird.
We get like, it's just some of the, this is probably going to be a short episode, but whatever.
Yeah.
We get like probably the worst ending I've seen in a long time. It's like the beast. The beast gets shot. Glass is dead, and Bruce Willis is drowned in a puddle. And we keep continuously seeing these like clover tattoos on people, like on their tiny little tattoos on their wrist. And then while he's being drowned, Ellie Staple comes over.
The best part of that is he gets thrown in his water tank.
Yeah. Him and the beast end up in the water tank. Yeah.
Right? So he breaks it. But then he gets put in that puddle. So I got a hot take.
All right.
That whole thing's supposed to be like, yeah, if you believe you're a hero, you have this power. Because he thinks water is his weakness, he just gives up. I think he could have lived the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing of don't listen to your weakness. I don't know. Whatever that thing is. But yeah, they have the clovers, which really screwed me up because I was like, have I missed this the whole time?
No, you didn't. No. It was something that was thrown in at the very end.
It's a waste.
So like she's like, take my hand, because I guess she wants him to see, because she knows about his ability to see people's wrongdoings or whatever. And he can see her in this. It's the stupidest way to meet. It's
in a dumb restaurant.
This group of people all congregate at a restaurant, and they wait for
secret clandestine group of people in a kitchen,
and they sit there and wait for people that aren't them to leave to have a meeting at a public restaurant. There's got to be a better way. But we find out that she is part of whatever this group. We don't even know what this group is yet, but we know that they're dedicated to keeping them down, or keeping super people down, basically. And she goes to Elijah as he's dying, and says, "We don't take sides. We think it's best for the human race if they don't know. Every time one of you pops up, another one does, and then it escalates. So like it's best. It's just best for humanity if we just keep the super people down, basically." It's like, this is so dumb.
And they kill him,
and he dies. Puddle. And then the end of the movie, she's at a comic book shop, and you hear there's actually, it parallels a quote to the first. No, it jumps back to Anya Taylor-Joy's character. I can't remember her name. Casey. Is that her name?
Casey.
Yeah. She's buying comic books halfway through this movie. And the guy at the counter mentions that the very first Action Comics of Superman was him lifting a car, and that started all of the superhero stuff.
Yeah, and then because it makes the quote of something like, "The world didn't believe in superheroes until a man in blue leotards picked up a car."
Yeah,
or the cover of
And then all of this stuff starts out. The footage of that fight, the first shot is Kevin lifting a car and pushing it over. So, kudos to Shyamalan for that.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, it's so weird, man. Like, seems like a guy that loves comics. He really just took a shat on all of it.
Well, like, Unbreakable was like the first takedown of superheroes, really. You know, kind of like The Boys is now, and he was like the first one to like make a takedown of superheroes, I'll call it, before there were any superhero movies.
So the next twist there is Glass. She's thinking that and realizes Elijah, Price, Glass, whatever, Mr. Glass, had to have a better plan. And she finds out that he programmed all the footage to be released.
He
sent to a private website,
to a private server.
That
his mom, who's a 90-year... Okay, that's another
This
problem.
is not the internet.
Sam Jackson is like, what, 70?
Older than that actress.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think 5 years older. I looked it up.
But his character's got to be at least 70, 60 or 70. His mom is like, what, 90? She'd be dead.
That's a good-looking 90-year-old. That's a gilf right there.
But she gets it on her old Mac computer that's off in the corner, and Ellie Staple realizes this is the part of like the over-explaining that I was talking about with Ellie Staple's character.
Yeah,
she tells the guy like, "Oh, that's why he went through the basement. He wanted as many cameras on it as possible." Don't need that line. Just cut back to all the camera footage of them leaving the building. Yeah,
we haven't had a ton of it. It's just been like, sit back. Yeah, figure it out. Why?
And so now we know that group of three, the three that related to the main three in the asylum, they have footage of what happened at the thing because this other group is trying to cover everything up.
And they release it.
Yeah.
Why do they go to the daggum bus station?
That's a good question.
I mean, maybe it's a good place to hide out, or you'll see a lot of people.
What's the guarantee that everybody's going to get that information all at once? Like, you can watch that stuff pop off from sitting in front of a computer screen. Like, but then we get one final scene with this stupid club again, where, and this might even be before all that, but it's part of the end of the movie. They have another secret meeting, and she's like, I know my role here is to convince them that they're not superheroes, to keep them down and use violence and whatnot as a last resort. And again, you're over-explaining. We get it. We already understand. Like,
yep.
Trust the audience. We get it. You don't have to explain it again. But again, like I said earlier, this ending makes no sense until we get another movie, and I don't think we are.
No, he flat out said he's not interested in doing another thing. It's a trilogy. That's it. Which I'm like, dude, you wrote this ending. This wasn't we ran out of money. We filmed this.
And
you wrote this.
Not only that, his last 3 or 4 movies, including this one, Shyamalan has financed himself.
Yeah, he must have a nice house with a good mortgage they can.
Well, he mortgaged that movie with the creepy grandparents that try to kill the kids. I can't remember what it was called, but it came out recently.
Drawing a blank.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna look it up. Did he direct it too?
Yeah.
It's not The Village, is it?
No. Well, he directed The Village, but
yeah, I did do that. Devil. He did After Earth after that with Will Smith.
Oh,
and
God.
Whatever his turd son is.
Well, I think this would... Anyway, that movie, he mortgaged his house to make that movie. He put a second mortgage on his house to make that movie. And Old he financed. This movie he financed. I think Knock in the Cabin, which is out right now, which I'm interested to see, I think he'd finance by himself.
I mean, but let's be honest. These movies, to me, aren't great. His movies aren't great. They're okay.
He's either
but they make money. He made $247 million at box office on a $20 million budget.
He's got an Unbreakable, a Signs, just a lot of really Split. He's got really good movies.
Yeah.
I can't say that he makes a bad movie. I don't feel like I don't even feel like this movie is incredibly bad. It's
The Last Airbender.
Well, yeah, that. I mean, I never saw that. I think that was a gun for hire. I don't think he was
they just wanted
I don't think
name.
that was one of his passion projects. But the stuff that he directs and writes and stuff that he creates himself, it's either really good or aggressively mediocre.
So this movie's funny. I didn't know this. Again, I looked up a lot of trivia just for the fun of it.
Mm.
The original script for Unbreakable, Kevin was supposed to show up in it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But couldn't make it work into one movie.
That makes sense.
So that's how Split came. And I was like, oh,
because
that's cool.
At the end of Split, it shows the news of this guy that has kidnapped these girls, and it pushes slowly through a diner. And at the end of the diner, it's Bruce Willis.
Got Bruce.
And it was a surprise, Unbreakable
the same
sequel.
World.
Yeah. It was oh, shit, that's David Dunn.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember I worked with 2 guys that loved Unbreakable.
Uh-huh.
They're not huge M. Night Shyamalan fans. They loved it, and they went and saw it, and they were just he's still there. It's still a thing. They're gonna do something with him. That's what sucks with this. Nothing's gonna happen.
When I saw Split, I was like, oh, M. Night is a genius.
Yeah.
And then this movie came out.
I may watch that at some point. I've seen a lot of clips, and I'm like, this is pretty dang good.
You should really watch both of those movies.
Yeah. I give this a 5.
That's what I was thinking. Is a good 5.5.
If the ending wasn't so bad, man, I'd give it better.
Yeah.
And also, I just, like I said, I didn't watch the other ones fully, but I just feel like this thing just shats right on everyone's heads that's a fan.
You ever watch...
that's fun. Go ahead.
You ever watch Chris Stuckman on YouTube? Movie reviewer?
Yeah. I don't know what... I know the name, and I can see his face.
He's a big Shyamalan fan. That's his inspiration. So he kind of has a love-hate relationship with this movie. His review was really good.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I know exactly what it is now.
Yeah. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but
yeah, I don't either. I think I watched it and was like, yep, never watching this guy again. See ya.
Yeah, it's he really liked this movie, and I'm like,
Yeah.
So that's Split. Or not Split. Glass. Jesus. I wish it was Split. That's a much better movie.
Yeah.
It felt like it was a split sequel, but it felt like more of a split sequel.
I'll beat you to it. What are you watching?
What am I watching? Well, of course, The Walking Dead. Not Walking shit.
Last of Us.
God, Last of Us. Yes, the superior show.
Man, it is. This is the 8th, the episode that aired on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Yeah,
that was good, and I did not expect the show to go that brutal. I won't spoil anything, but geez Louise,
God, ugh.
It was fun to see Troy Baker's in that. That's the guy that voiced the original Joel in the video games, which he used to be on an awesome YouTube channel. Him and Nolan North, who voiced Nolan North is like the best.
And Nolan North in the game voiced this villain.
Yep.
From this past week's episode. So,
but Troy Baker left that YouTube
I think they had
channel
they say they didn't have a falling out, but it's like
they had a falling out. It definitely did. And it's funny because I was like, Troy Baker's definitely the one leading this YouTube channel. Like he's the one doing this because Nolan North's awesome, but he's not that.
He just seemed
savvy.
Like he was there for fun. He was just like, yeah, I'll do this.
Which I like. I mean, I liked him a whole lot more. I'm not gonna lie, but
yeah. They had pretty good back and forth between each other.
Yep, and then Rooster Teeth bought him, and it went downhill.
Yeah, it's terrible now. Like I went back to see what that channel is now, and it's not great. It's Nolan North by itself, and it's not good.
No,
I think I'm close to finishing Hogwarts because I've got 2 unforgivable curses right now.
I think I got 1, and I'm about to get 2. I hadn't played it in like a week. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just hadn't picked it up.
And that's my one criticism with the game is like there's the side quest with the Slytherin kid who wants to heal his sister, and that's where you get a lot of these unforgivable curses. And it's like his uncle's like, if I hear about you using these curses, then I'll go. And then meanwhile, cross the map, I'm like excruciating goblins all day.
Yeah, there's no ramification.
That's where I feel the game is lacking. Is like there should be some kind of cost if you use those things. Like if you choose to use those. Yeah, you just
stole a car in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
the cops are coming.
Yeah, like there should be some kind of something you have to give up to use those.
I was so hesitant to do any of that. And then when I realized there's nothing, I went, oh, screw this. These are awesome.
I was like,
going all the way.
You can use them without feeling bad. Just.
Did you, I'm exactly in lock with you on these. Did you watch The Mandalorian yet?
The first episode. I'm going to watch the second episode tonight.
It's good.
It was really good.
This season is kind of like comes out balls blazing. Like,
it was not as good as season premiere as season 2.
No, definitely not.
But that shot at the beginning where he comes flying in and like, because you think it's a flashback. You think it's a flashback to him.
Yep.
And then he just comes flying in with that thing. It's like,
yeah. This is good.
But I think this season is going to be really good. The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I do too. I just it's one of those things where I'm going, I love this so much. Like I get so much happiness out of watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm a pessimist, but I'm just like anything that's good, it's going to go bad.
And rewatching the first 2 is like I really like the first season more than the second season.
I need to rewatch the second again, but I started rewatching the first,
and I judged that by how many.
Like, this is incredible.
By how many episodes that I skipped. I was like, especially the second episode of season 2. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
stuck in an ice cave with spiders. And a frog lady.
The best is I'm trying to figure out how. I love Boba Fett. I'm not going to rewatch that series, but I want to figure out how I can watch the Mandalorian ones. I think only 2 episodes.
Just watch. It's like literally the
dead middle,
like episodes 4 and 5.
Yeah,
and some of 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for it.
When I remember watching that when those episodes premiered, especially that first episode. I was like, oh, we're starting with Din Djarin. Okay, I figured he's going to be in the series. This is fun. Oh, okay, we're still going. All right.
I just wanted to know, did they go, we're getting bad notes. People don't like this show. We need to bring back all this other stuff. Switch the episodes up. This isn't season 3 Mandalorian anymore.
See, that's the thing. They shoot those they take a year to shoot those things. So those were already planned out and shot. So I don't know. I don't know why they did that. It'd be like watching an episode of How I Met Your Mother, and then it just follows the Friends cast, and it's like, okay.
But this season, I'm all this. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything crazy. Yeah. Things move in this one. That's all.
Yeah. So that is it for our episode this week. If you have a suggestion for a future episode, you can send that to secondtakemooviespod@gmail.com. You can find us on social media. Well, just Instagram. Jeez, that changes every week for me. I can't remember it. It's just Instagram. You can send a weird DM. You can comment on stuff, whatever, at Second Take Movies. Don't know what we're doing next week. We need to start planning that out more, but I assume we're doing something next week. It'll be a surprise for both of us. We'll figure it out. But until then, we will see you next week with another movie.